let's be honest about this. This is a national crisis. And in the same way as the pandemic was a national crisis, you have to have exceptional methods of dealing with it. It is an emergency. My constituents in Huddersfield, men and women, families up and down this country, face an autumn and winter where they cannot pay their bills. We'll have children going to bed with no food in their tummies and no heat in their homes. And I think what Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves came out with yesterday was a sensible policy to reassure people, yes, in the short term, but it's not fussy, it's not a bit here, a bit there. It is a guarantee of a freeze on the price of energy for as long as it takes to be able to meet this crisis.
As long as it takes is an interesting phrase there. It reminds me of the words that Rishi Sunak used, whatever it takes, during the pandemic. And I just wonder, how much can this country take doing pandemic-style responses to every crisis that subsequently besets us? The Labour Party put out some costings. They've been disputed by some, but clearly at least they're trying to show some costings for this that last for 6 months. If this policy lasts longer than 6 months, as the Institute for Fiscal Studies, for example, has suggested it might, this is an annual cost that would cost more than furlough cost this country. Is that sustainable?
No, Tom, it isn't sustainable. And what we're talking about is giving people confidence now to get through this period. Yes, of course, we all hope and will work for long-term solutions and get this sorted. The energy crisis is complex and difficult, and we know that that is true. But the fact of the matter is that people's confidence for this coming autumn and winter has to be restored. Otherwise, they will be terrified to go about their ordinary lives, to go to work, to leave to leave home. So this is it's a short-term measure, and we will revise those measures as we go on, as we see what the situation is. Giving confidence. Years ago, the only election manifesto anyone remembers is education, education, education. I think at the moment, we're heading towards energy, energy, energy. It's at the very heart of our future. And of course, there are elephants in the room. Tom, you're doing a very good a way of introducing this debate. But the elephant in the room is always we are in terrible trouble economically since our difficulties with trading with our main trade partner, Europe. And small businesses in my constituency hit by the difficulty of exporting to Europe and hit by these enormous increases in their energy costs. That is a crisis not just of our making. We've got to bring all the national resources to bear on something that we know at the moment will only get worse.
I wonder if that's the case, why Europe is experiencing the same sort of energy crises that we are, why our friends and partners on the continent are experiencing the same level of inflation, more or less, than we are, and why the Americans are as well. This does seem to be rather more of a global than a British malaise.
Well, I think there's a very big difference is that no one this summer, they always say, the famous novel, August is a wicked month. It was a particular wicked month this year when we've got a country with no proper prime minister, with no proper leadership, and no one knows what the hell is going on, either in Number 10 or anywhere in the government. And the fact of the matter is that Labour has stepped up and said, we'll give the reassurance that short term we'll have this emergency measure that everybody will be confident that bills won't go above a certain limit. And that's what you do as a responsible opposition. And increasingly, what we will do as we move towards the election is produce the policies that will show that there is the leadership, the resolve and the competence to take this country of ours forward.